Hello guys, in this video I'm going to tell you a little story of gardening inspiration. So ever since I started gardening, which I've never done in the past, but just ever since I moved into this house, I developed a curiosity for gardening. So since that time, it was fun in the beginning. I wasn't really worried too much because I had very few plants that I had planted, and everything else was just weeds. And at that time, I didn't know anything about weeding. I was just letting everything grow and just get really messy. So there wasn't a lot of work for me to do. But as time went on, I developed different tastes and I got more serious about gardening. It became very laborious, and sometimes there was moments where I just wanted to give up, especially during weeding season, um, or watering them in general, whether it's through a schedule or just by feeling them out and looking at them. So there have been times where I just wanted to give up, and there have been times where I was just spending like almost the whole day out there in the garden, and then of course there's moments where I'm just like really in like just super excited, and I just want to see everything grow like super fast. But as we know, plants, some of them can take forever to grow. So, and then ever since I started introducing California native plants, then that even brings more challenges because they are plants that I wasn't used to, and they have a different way of growing. So that made it seem like even harder to me. And then now I just started gardening in the front garden with that slope, and now that I've added that extra challenge of gardening on a slope on a hill, then more work comes with that. So even more, like there's just times where like I get so tired, and my neck starts hurting or my back because I'm constantly kneeling, stooping, crouching, bending, you name it. But it's very good exercise at the same time. And because I wasn't used to that kind of work, of course, you really feel the aches and pains afterwards. But then your body gets used to it, and then you still need to make sure that you do your daily workout, and then everything is fine. So now I really feel no aches and pains because I'm learning how to do things, and I'm not just abusing my body or just not taking care of myself when I'm out there gardening. Anyway, so to make a long story short, I do water my garden manually, in case you didn't know, and I'm going to talk about that in a different video. But for now, something really special happened this past Saturday when I was watering specifically the California fuchsia plant. So when I was starting to water, I noticed this hummingbird, but I try not to focus on him because I didn't want him to. I didn't want to scare him away because I'm assuming birds can feel, or if I'm sure they can sense danger if you move or you do a gesture or anything that can scare them away. So, but again, kind of like a cat, you kind of ignore them, and so that's what I did with this bird, this hummingbird. So I just ignored him, and then after a while, when I was just watering and minding my own business in the garden, then he came. Then he came close to me, and there's next to the California fuchsia. There's this branch that I placed there to keep the cats away from digging up that area. So then on that twig, on that branch, to my surprise, this hummingbird came so close to me, and then he just perched on that branch next to the California fuchsia. He was just there, kind of like almost just looking at me, and I got really surprised because I never thought that a hummingbird would ever get close to me like that. Anyway, so I just waited, and then he just kind of looked at me, and I stood still. I didn't want to move because, again, I didn't want to scare him away. So then after a while, then he just started hovering around the California fuchsia, and then he just started drinking the nectar while I was there. He was like really here. I could like feel his flutters, and So then he came so close, and then I just stood still there. I stopped watering, and I was just holding the water can. And then he just started feeding. But the most surprising thing that I witnessed that day was that, kind of like a cat, I'm not sure if this goes for birds as well, but for a cat, from what I've learned, if they give their back to you, that means they really trust you and they really trust that you're not going to hurt them. So that's what that bird did. He gave me his back. He was just like in front of me, drinking merrily, sucking up the nectar from that California fuchsia plant. And he was doing that for a while, and I was just there looking and admiring at him. And then he flew off. So that moment there, after going through moments of sometimes trying to give up and just things like that, then there clicked a moment of inspiration that I was so inspired, and I felt like this garden is beyond just beauty and aesthetics. It's something bigger than that. Like that really, really inspired me to keep going. And that's when and then that's when I said to myself, I'm moving forward. I'm not looking back. And it was such a special moment that it triggered this whole different passion, this whole different enthusiasm for the garden. And then I said to myself, this is the reason why I'm doing this. This is the reason why I started doing this, for moments like this, because I feel like I'm giving back to these innocent creatures that know nothing but just feed and take care of their young, nourish themselves, and just, and not only that, they're embellishing the garden, they're bringing pleasure to my sight, to my surroundings. Now that I have all these other plants growing, and this is just the beginning. I mean, my garden is really young. I am so looking forward to what else I'll be witnessing, what else will bring me pleasure. Yes, I've had those moments of giving up, but they were very few compared to the pleasure that I get out of gardening, to the stress that it takes away. And I'm glad I found gardening. I'm glad I was inspired by this very tiny being, this little hummingbird. So what a special moment it was in the Garden of Usher for me, and I just thought that I would share that with you in case there's anybody else out there that have gone through their moments of doubt. You should look deeper into yourself and just what really a garden means beyond the aesthetics and just maybe beautifying your space. Okay, so that's it.